Welcome to the Launceston Walking Club's 43rd Do You Know Tasmania presentation. This year, the Launceston Walking Club celebrates 60 years of bushwalking. A public meeting was organised by Roy Davies and convened by Fred Smithies on the 29th of November 1946 to form a walking club. Fred Smithies was signed up as member number 4 when he paid his joining fee of 5 shillings. At the club's annual dinner in 1955, this is Fred on the right. During 1947, the club ventured further afield with overnight walks, the first of which was to Chudley Lakes. We diversified into climbing and peat bagging, and many first ascents were by club members. One of our most notable members was Keith Lancaster, who made the first solo climb of Federation Peak on October the 19th, 1949. His detailed trip diaries now have their own website. He had a great sense of humour as well, and enjoyed club socials and livened up many occasions. Over the past 60 years, faces have changed. John Miller here poses on the step of Club Bus Matilda 1. And this is John Miller now, and as our current club patron, will make his contribution in our Pick of Our Patrons' Picks section coming next. But back to the story. The club's character has been moulded by the early decision to purchase our own bus. Matilda 1, a Chevrolet with wooden bench seats, was the first, followed by Matilda 2 in 1953, here on the Pillinger track. Many times the bus needed a push to get it through the boggy patches, and we wondered if it was worth it. But the tradition continued with Matilda 3, a De Soto, which kept Jim Turner busy with the maintenance over many years. Trouble and contrariness was their motto. Another Matilda doing duty at the club's 21st celebrations. And now we're up to Matilda 11, our current Toyota, which spoils us with its effortless handling of the highways and byways, plus excellent heating and cooling. As the tradition of shared bus travel to our walk destinations continues, so is the traditional fast food stop on the way home. But the reason for these buses was to go walking together, and walk we did, in all seasons. The winter snows were no reason to stay at home. Why, there are always mountains to climb, whatever the weather. Frenchman's Cap was a favourite destination in all seasons, but the rock cairn has now gone, probably one by one over the edge. Ken Church took this photo of a satisfied group on top of Mount Ramsay, a club group at Rylett's Hut on the Port Davey track. A regular destination in the early days was Gordon Vale, home of the genial giant 6'4" Ernie Bond, who welcomed and entertained bushwalkers for 17 years with his offerings of wallaby stew, plates of strawberries, and homemade honeymead. Waldheim at Cradle Mountain was another regular destination. The Ranger's Hut was burnt down in the 1970s, and this was Weindorfer's original home, now replaced by a replica. We can no longer visit Lake Pedder, as seen here in the 1960s. The first plane landed at Pedder in 1946, and it was a popular destination until flooded in 1972. This view of Lake Pedder from the Franklin Ranges shows the famous beach slowly disappearing. All we have now are the memories and fading photos of this wonderful place. We started publishing our stories in 1950 as an annual magazine named Skyline. They continued until 1981 under the direction of a dedicated committee and are now a valuable repository of bushwalking history. Since then, our club magazine Langana continues to record our stories for future generations to enjoy. Food has always been a focus of our activities, whether at formal dinners then or recently at our 60th anniversary celebrations. And always to be enjoyed in the bush after carrying it all the way on your back. Campfires are now a thing of the past, and fuel stoves are the norm. And you don't need to be cajoled like trying to make cooking fires with damp wood. The tradition of a sing-along in front of the fire, like this group at Waldheim in 1960, complete with piano accordion, is no longer fashionable. But we're creating new traditions like our annual awards that recognise achievements, both serious and most definitely not. One tradition that's endured is the club's Do You Know Tasmania shows that started as a public photo night in the 1950s and grew into a significant production. Colour films were first shot in 1964, and a collection of over 40 films were made up to the 1990s. These covered many significant areas of walking and have now, with assistance from the Tasmanian Community Fund, been converted to digital form to be produced as DVDs. A lot of fun was had in the production of our mad movies, and Dr. David Hutchinson, with his pyrotechnic skills, added to their effects. Here he is preparing for a take with cameramen and onlookers well in the background. The fuse was lit, and hopefully the camera caught the action. On another occasion, he almost singed his beard. The club films brought out the acting potential of many members, and also captured significant moments in our endeavours, such as the story of the construction of the Scott Kilbert Hut at Lake Rodway. This hut was built as a memorial to David Kilbert and club member Ewan Scott, who perished near Dove Lake in 1965. It was designed by Arnold Rowlands, and Stan Brozak was the building consultant. The club has assisted in the maintenance of huts such as the Gingerbread Hut on Mount Rufus. Walking the gear in was hot work. The roof was repaired and refixed until it was as good as new again. Another project was when the club assisted Denny King to build a hut for bushwalkers at Melaleuca in memory of his father, Charles King. The completed hut here, in the open, is today hidden in thick growth. Denny King was an honorary member of the club and a wonderful host for all visitors in his southwest domain. But other huts have not survived to this day due to fire, like the hut at Waterfall Valley in 1970, or like the Lake Vera hut, which was starting to fall down in 1970, which required you to put up your tent inside to keep dry. Duquesne Hut, here in 1960, have survived to be repaired and continue to remind us of the early trappers. Bushwalking gear has changed over the years from A-frame rucksacks and Japara tents with no floors, which required poles to be cut from the bush, and even smoking in bed has become a thing of the past. But while much has changed in those 60 years, we've always enjoyed ourselves, whether out walking, or winter skiing at the walls of Jerusalem, or at an annual dinner. And the Launceston Walking Club still satisfies the desires and challenges for adventure and companionship